On the 3rd of September 2018, I set off on a 2.5-week solo travel journey to the two places in the world that my soul has desired to visit the most for a long time coming. I came to a realization that life is now, that tomorrow isn't guaranteed, and because traveling makes my soul feel so incredibly alive, in honor of my being, I finally decided to step out of my comfort zone, stop waiting, and have the most amazing trip to beautiful Japan and Poland. Organized by and with the company of just myself, it certainly did turn out to be an experience that has changed my life for the better. Every day I ticked off items on my bucket list for my own growth, and of course, it wouldn't have been complete had I not been able to meet you. Spending time with and getting to know you, who have been a part of my own life journey all over the world, truly touched my heart beyond words, and gave me a new kind of motivation to do what I do. Solo traveling is one of our greatest life teachers, and it taught me so much about myself, my purpose, what brings me joy, mindfulness, gratitude, confidence, and how beautiful our world is. There is so much to experience in life, so much to see out there, so many unique cultures to be a part of. The universe proved to me once and for all that we are unlimited beings here to manifest our desires into a physical reality. Incredible is just one word that can begin to describe this solo journey, and my heart is simply filled with so much love and gratitude. I can't stop laughing. I can't stop laughing for some reason. Oh, I don't know what I'm saying. Hi beautiful friends, it's Jasmine and welcome back to another video. Hope that you are all doing very well today and welcome back to my room. It has been quite a while, I think actually around 3 weeks since I left for Japan and Poland, and I'm back now. It is a Wednesday today and I came back on Friday, so I've just about gotten over the jet lag now and I'm feeling very energetic, so happy, refreshed and just really good right now. So today I wanted to just kind of sit down and chat and talk to you about my experience as a solo female traveler to Japan and Poland and share my insights. And honestly, this is actually my second time trying to film this, because the first time I filmed it, which was this morning, yeah, I just couldn't really film it. So I've had lunch now and I think I'm ready, and so let's just get straight into my experience. So as you probably can tell if you catch up with my Instagram and my vlogs, that it was two of the most incredible weeks of my life in this lifetime. Words truly can't express fully my gratitude and just how I'm feeling, how alive I felt, how happy, and it's an experience that my soul will cherish and remember eternally. It is ingrained within me forever. It changed my life in ways that I never thought possible. I mean, I know it sounds really dramatic and it's just a trip and it's only 2 weeks, but really words can't describe it. My heart is truly just so full of love and gratitude. I now understand why my soul was called to do this. It happened at the perfect divine timing of my life. My soul needed it to just to grow more, to expand. I truly learned so incredibly much about myself and my soul calling, purpose. And of course I also learned so much about each of the cultures in Japan and Poland. They are two completely different places and almost on the opposite ends of the world, and so it was amazing just to be immersed in the culture. It's what I love so much, and also traveling to these places really helped broaden my perspective of the world, and it made me appreciate even more, if it was even possible, my life, my everyday life, all that I have access to, my privileges. And of course traveling to Japan and Poland, where the main language isn't English, I learned a lot of new Japanese and Polish words, which was great, and I definitely improved, I think, on my Polish pronunciation. I also learned a lot of new skills when I traveled, and it's even as little or as basic as taking taking a subway in Japan, and also the skill of dealing with different challenges that you don't normally face. And the biggest and most important thing to me that I got to practice was listening to my intuition, enhancing my intuition, and surrendering to the divine plan. I set the intention that my main focus and theme for my travels this time would be to just trust, that one word, trust, and also surrender to the divine plan, because I just believe that God, the universe, has a greater plan for you. So I really got to practice the art of letting go, not trying to control every little aspect. This time I was in complete flow, and because of that I truly learned just the power of surrendering, because this trip was just beyond what I ever imagined. If I had tried to control every aspect, it would not have turned out as amazing, as magical as it was. And of course traveling is all glamorous and everything, but when you look back, it really was, everything was so worth it. And because I just let go, so many amazing things happened. I also got to practice patience, of course, because especially when you're in airports and you're queuing up all the time, you need a lot of patience. And this time I realized I did not at all get frustrated or annoyed. I actually was in total complete inner peace. I really tapped back into it. This time, no matter how long I waited for something, I was just completely present, because I cherished my time so much in each place. There was no need to get worried or stressed or anything. I also got to witness the power of radiating kindness and positive energy to other people, no matter how other people treat you, because one of my favorite quotes is, how other people treat you is their karma, how you react is yours. And I did share a few story times on my Instagram, and it's still on my highlights, so you can still check that out. I did share it in a previous vlog, but essentially the universe really proved to me big time that when you radiate kind energy and send out blessings and love to other people, it returns to you. And of course, don't do it because you expect something in return. Do it because you genuinely just love people, and it just comes back, because the law of karma, the law of cause and effect, the law of giving and receiving, it's all real. I also got to cultivate a lot more mindfulness into my life. I think intuitively and subconsciously I knew that my time at a specific place was limited, in that I had to leave and go to the next destination. So I was just taking everything in. I was so aware, just admiring everything, and I kept telling myself inside that, Jasmine, you're actually here, you're actually here. And so I was just appreciating every moment. Every single day I ticked off things off my bucket list for my own growth, not for anything else, not for show and tell or anything, just for my own happiness. And I manifested so many of my dreams that I had even put pictures on my vision board into a reality. Again, the universe proved to me that we as human beings are here to manifest our desires into a reality. Just like how grass grows. The grass doesn't try to grow, it just grows. And we as human beings, we don't need to try to manifest, we just manifest. I also experienced a lot of meaningful synchronicities. I really think it's because every day I was so present that I truly learned the art of detaching from desires. And when working with the law of attraction, detaching is so important. Maybe this sounds a bit cliche, but I truly have come back as a different person energetically. I just feel different, like something has shifted, and that's why I think my soul needed this trip. So a common question that I got asked was, why did I travel solo to Japan and Poland? I guess the biggest and the main reason is because I just love solo traveling. Just love the freedom that comes with it, the flexibility. And of course I do enjoy traveling with other people such as my mom, but when you solo travel, it's just a totally different experience. I also wanted to challenge myself and push myself out of my comfort zone, of course still respecting my boundaries. I think there's a big difference between a boundary and pushing yourself, but I truly needed to just get more uncomfortable, because when you're uncomfortable, those are the situations where we actually grow the most. And so I definitely had my share of uncomfortable times, but it didn't take away from the overall experience. I think that's what actually made my experience so colorful, so vibrant, and so amazing. I also solo traveled to practice my confidence, and I have shared before that confidence is something that I have struggled with my entire teenagehood, and it was when I really started to work on it around 1 year ago. I've truly come so far, and I feel now more confident than I ever have in my entire life, and I'm so grateful. And going on this trip definitely enhanced that even more. For example, sometimes I needed to gather the confidence to ask someone to help me take a photo, and I also solo traveled to help practice my independence. And I think it is something that is very important, not only for all people but especially as females, I think. And as for why I went to Japan and Poland more specifically, Poland of course, because that is my dad's roots. That's where my dad grew up. I've always wanted to visit my dad's hometown, and Japan, it was just a pure soul calling. Just something energetically was pulling me to go there, and now I also understand why. And the fact that I combined these two countries in opposite sides of the world, it happened for a reason, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. It was just a pure calling that I trusted, that I honored. So now I just want to share a bit of my experience in Japan and in Poland with a focus on solo traveling as a female, and just share my insights. Please do bear in mind that this is my own perception and interpretation, and it's not about comparing these two countries at all. They're both so beautiful, so unique in their own way. It still feels so surreal. In fact, the entire time, every day felt so surreal. The first impression I had was that I was so blown away by the politeness there in Japan, the friendliness, and just this respect in the culture that they have. I was also really surprised by how clean it was, because you can't find rubbish bins on the street at all. The train system also blew me away, just the whole structure and how on time the trains were. Also, to my surprise, it was really easy to get around in Japan, and I think it's because I did have Google Maps, which was my savior and my absolute best friend. I even got the local bus, for example, and I had no problem with that, even though it was all in Japanese. Overall, in general, the public transport system in Japan is quite English friendly. In general, when I was in Japan, I just felt that it had a very spiritual atmosphere, that it was very sacred. And it's funny how I've never been to Japan before, but from the moment I arrived, I felt so comfortable, just like it was my home, like I was returning to some place. And it was also the first time that I ever stayed in a hostel, and all of the hostels that I stayed in were super clean, super nice, and I ensured that when I booked the accommodation, I chose hostels that had a good reputation, had high rating, was on an official website, and was in the central location. And I also chose to stay in the female only rooms, so yeah, I felt very safe, and in general I just felt safe in Japan. So that is my overall general recap of my Japan experience. And now for Poland. So as you may know, this was my first time ever in Poland, let alone Europe. What surprised me the most about Poland was that I found it a lot easier to be vegan there than in Japan. That truly blew me away, especially in Warsaw. I had the most incredible food, which I am so grateful for, and it was also a lot more affordable compared to Japan and Australia as well. The vegan cakes were, oh my goodness, so good. What I did find a bit challenging in Poland was finding the addresses and accommodation of my Airbnbs, and I think it is because I didn't have any Wi-Fi or a SIM card with me. And again, this is just a totally personal experience. For some reason, this actually also surprised me. I didn't feel as comfortable in Poland as a solo traveler than in Japan. And it's funny because I thought that I would, since my dad is from Poland, but maybe because it's my first time in Europe and it had a totally different atmosphere compared to Asia. I've only ever traveled within Asia actually. Some of you were also asking about what happened in Krakow and why I changed from hostel to Airbnb, and I did mention it's because I actually pushed my boundary, and boundaries are something that is so important for self-care and self-love. Essentially, I did not feel comfortable staying in a room with men that were strangers who came back from parties late at night. I felt really vulnerable as a female solo traveler. And also, if you do want more detailed tips and you want to see my overall itinerary in both Japan and Poland, then I have actually written up 2 separate blog posts on my website, jasminelipska.com, so I'll link them down below and you can read up about it there. So the other day I also asked you on my Instagram to send through any other questions that you may have. Hopefully I've answered a lot of them by now, but some other ones that I got were, is it safe to travel solo as a female? It totally depends on where you are traveling to. Some places in the world it's totally safe to travel as a female, and in other parts maybe it's better to travel with someone. Always up to your intuition. Trust in your gut feeling because it always knows best. And so more specifically to this video, I think it is very safe to travel as a female solo traveler to both Japan and Poland. The question was, what were my favorite places or my top favorite place? And oh my goodness, every day I enjoyed every single place I visited. But if I had to choose my favorite place that I think my soul felt most connected to, it was definitely Kyoto. Another question was, what did you learn about yourself? And I kind of shared this already, I think. Overall, another big thing that I learned was that at this very stage in my life, in this lifetime, I need to travel. Something that my soul is calling, and I know it will blossom into something, flourish into something, and traveling just makes me feel so incredibly alive and aligned with my purpose. What are some of the pros and cons of solo traveling? I think that for me personally, I see a lot more pros than cons. I think maybe the biggest pros would be the freedom, the flexibility, and maybe the cons, I guess it does depend on you as well. But maybe sometimes it would be nice to have someone to accompany you, and perhaps a bit safer depending on where you are traveling to. But also another question I got was, did I ever feel lonely? And my answer is no. Another big question that I got was, how much money did I spend? And personally, I don't like to say spend money, I like to say use money or circulate, because money is just energy. You never spend energy, it's just reused. And I also do want to make another video all about money, how I save money and my mentality towards it, how I healed and changed my relationship with it. But just to be direct and open and honest with you, I used around 4,000 to maybe 4,500 Australian dollars in total. So this includes 2.5 weeks of flights, accommodation, food, experiences, and a little souvenirs. I didn't get anything else, and I'm just so incredibly grateful that I have this abundance in my life. And I also want you to realize that you have access to abundance as well right now, and it's all about just shifting your mindset and your mentality. So now I just want to share some general overall tips for solo traveling as a female. The first tip is, of course, to do your research and know the places well of where you are traveling to. About a week before I left, I was just fully immersed into planning out my trip so I could just understand the area, so such as the train stations nearby and knowing the emergency telephone numbers as well, gathering contact details and things like that. So definitely do your research. My next tip is to only stay in popular, highly rated, located in a central location accommodation. So maybe you're going to choose a hostel, So choose hostels that have had lots of reviews and in a location that is accessible to public transport and just not in a very isolated area. Also, get a Wi-Fi device or SIM card. In Japan, I had a Wi-Fi device, so that was super convenient to travel around to see which trains can take me to somewhere. In Poland, I didn't get the chance to get a Wi-Fi device or SIM card, and that I think did make it a bit more challenging to get around in Poland. My next big tip is to learn the language, or at least some basic phrases that can get you by along and have a basic conversation. And so this brings me to letting you know that this video is in collaboration with italki once again, and as you may know, I have been collaborating with italki for 2 months now. This is the 3rd video in collaboration with them because I genuinely just love them so much. I only ever promote companies and brands that I feel truly aligned with my values and can bring you great value as well. And what italki is, if you haven't heard of them, is that they are an online language learning platform that allows you to learn a language from anywhere around the world at any time in the convenience of your own schedule with a native teacher in the language. I have used italki myself, of course, in the past, and I actually showed you in my first video of my language lesson with my Korean teacher, and I just absolutely loved it so much. I found it so helpful and useful, and I think the main reason is because I got to have this human experience and connection, and it's through human connection that we learn the most. And for example, another course you can take is learning basic phrases for travel. There are such courses like that, and so they're very diverse and they're very accessible, very easy and convenient to use, and of course very affordable as well, which is another reason why I love italki. So I will leave the link to italki down below if you are interested, and I also do have a $10 coupon code for you if you sign up through the link. It's not an affiliate, I just genuinely would love it if you would use italki because I just think it's a great language learning platform. It's one of my favorite resources for learning languages. But yeah, before you go solo traveling, you can take a course or a lesson online through italki to learn the language so that you do have more confidence and you can communicate, such as even saying thank you or asking where is the bathroom, just to give you that confidence as a female solo traveler. Another big tip that I am so glad that I did was to pack minimally. As you may have seen, I had a really small suitcase with me, and that was super convenient, not just to bring upstairs and travel through subways and trains and airplanes and everything. It just made traveling a lot more simpler. I got to focus a lot more on the experience. My next tip is to always be aware of your surroundings. So perhaps don't always put your earphones in if you're on a subway unless you're on a long train ride, but if you're walking around along the streets, be present, be aware of what's around you, and maybe it's best to not wear your earphones in. And lastly, I just want to say that this trip wouldn't have been complete if I had not been able to meet you. It just meant so much to me. I keep talking about it, but it's because it truly touched my heart. Hearing it for the first time, someone in real life tell me that my videos have impacted them in a certain way for the better, truly just it gave me just a new kind of motivation. I'm just so thankful that I got to spend time with you and hang out with you, and also actually just in gratitude and thankfulness to you all. I have a little giveaway for you as always when I come back from a trip. So these are some of the things that I'm giving away. There are actually going to be 4 different people who will be randomly chosen, genuinely of course, and I will leave all of the details on how you can enter in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. But the 4 different things are, firstly, this postcard from Japan. It is the Sensoji temple, and actually with this comes a little Japanese flag, a little accessory thing. Next thing is another postcard. They're actually all postcards, so I just love handwriting things to you. For me, that is one of the greatest gifts. It is of Japan. It is so beautiful, and it has a big moon, so that's the next one. The next postcard is this one from Warsaw, and lastly is another postcard from Warsaw Old Town. I love this image. So like I said, if you want to enter it, please feel free to check out the description box below. And yeah, I guess that wraps up this video here. So So thank you so much once again for being here. I really hope that this video helped you, maybe gave you some confidence and encouragement to solo travel as well. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and I will see you in the next video. I hope that you are all having a wonderful day. I love you so incredibly much. You are worthy. Yes, you are. Believe in your dreams. I believe in you. Okay, bye.